Hello, everyone, and happy National Infertility Awareness Week. So, I'm here to explain to you my amazing story and how I met Dr. Duro and how important it was and she was into the factor of my fertility. Without her, I don't think I would have had this baby. I wouldn't have met Dr. Wood, that also played a factor and a role into achieving a healthy pregnancy. So, let me explain to you a little bit about my journey. So I had a very healthy first pregnancy, beautiful daughter, no complications, nothing. Everything was amazing. So why would anything bad happen? Second time around, you don't think that. So here I go trying to have baby number 2, and first try, get pregnant right away, boom, no worries, no issues. But I miscarried very early on, what's called a chemical pregnancy. So I don't let that derail me. I'm kind of like, okay, this happens. It's normal. Let's give it another go. I wait a month, and then the following month, try again, get pregnant again. Everything great this time around. I was a little cautious, it's like, oh, do I have back pain, cramps? I was fine, That's how it kind of starts when you start with issues the first time. But I didn't have anything. Healthy pregnancy. I go to my 14-week appointment, and unfortunately the baby had passed. I had had a miscarriage. The baby's heart had stopped beating, but my body had not recognized it. I had every pregnancy symptom in the book. I felt horrible, still was very pregnant. So I didn't understand why that had happened then until I had my D&C. My doctor realized I had what was called a partial molar pregnancy, which, if anyone knows what that is, the baby never makes it to term, and the baby obviously didn't. He passed. So after I sat with that for a while and we grieved the loss of our son, we were ready to start again. So we did. We waited 3 to 4 months, and we started trying again. And then, of course, that same month we started trying, I got pregnant. This time I was very anxious the whole time. I wanted to make sure that I was fine. But shortly after, like 5 weeks into the pregnancy, I miscarried the baby. So this time I'm like, I'm not trying again for another baby until I have answers as to why this keeps happening to me. So of course I went and I looked for answers, and I found Dr. Duro. I wanted to try a natural route at first, which is why I picked Dr. Duro as my doctor. I saw she specialized in fertility. She did acupuncture, which I had never tried, but I had heard amazing things from. Everyone loves it. So I'm like, okay, I'm not scared of needles, so let's do this. Which, by the way, acupuncture does not hurt. It's amazing. It's relaxing. I take a nap each time I do it. So take that doubt out of your mind. It's amazing. But so as soon as I met Dr. Duro, she was amazing. She was the foundation I needed to get to a healthy pregnancy. So I explained to her everything, and she's like, listen, you are young, Paloma. You shouldn't, you have no trouble getting pregnant. Obviously, your trouble's maintaining a pregnancy, and we're here to find out the root of the problem. So she's like, I have a theory. I think what you have is natural killer cells. Sometimes when they are elevated, your body thinks that baby is a virus or something of that sort, and it'll kill it off. Those cells will attack the baby and kill the baby, the pregnancy. So she referred me to her colleague, Dr. Wood, which was Dr. Wood along with Dr. Duro were my saving grace. I went to Dr. Wood. We ran a bunch of blood work. And she's like, listen, I'm going to have you do the natural killer cell blood work, which only one lab in the United States does it, which is a lab in Chicago. So off went my blood. And she goes, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll get to the bottom of it. So I wanted to try a natural cycle and see if with acupuncture and just me trying naturally, I'd be fine. So, of course, that's what I did. I tried one cycle naturally, just with acupuncture, and of course I got pregnant that same month. And right away, as soon as I got pregnant, I called Dr. Duro, went straight over there. She did me this amazing treatment, I went to Dr. Wood, they ran blood work, and my ECG came back a little bit low. But she said, listen, it's fine. Let's just monitor it. And there I go again. I miscarried again. So this time, this miscarriage was crazy. Like, it just maintained itself there. Like, it was like I was miscarrying this baby, but I wasn't actually miscarrying. Like, I knew I was miscarrying because my ECG numbers were going down and down, but it just wasn't happening. So Dr. Duro did these other amazing acupuncture therapies to kind of help the flow come down and everything come down, and we were able to get that moving in order to get past yet another loss. So then Dr. Wood was like, no more trying. Let's first get to the root of the problem. Let's see if this lab work comes back and what comes back, and then we'll move forward. So then, of course, lab work came back. And of course, I had elevated natural killer cells. So that explained a lot. So we're like, okay, we have this. Let's see now that we know that this is what you have. You'll do intralipids, a course of intralipids right before you ovulate, and as soon as you get a positive pregnancy test. I'm like, okay, let's do this. So that's what we did. Actually, I'm lying. We didn't do it before ovulation. We did it as soon as I had a positive pregnancy test. So it was my fault because I was supposed to do it, but I did not. And anyways, I tried that month. We did the intralipids as soon as I got a positive pregnancy test, which I got pregnant again. And I think it was too late because yet again, I miscarried. And then that's when she mentioned to me, listen, let's do it before ovulation, because sometimes the killer cells will attack as soon as the baby, gets attached to you. So let's just try to do it right away. So instead I was like, you know what, let's try to fast track this, and let's try, even though I had no troubles getting pregnant, I'm like, let's do an IUI. Why not? Let's just try to get everything done quicker. So I did a double IUI, and for some reason, which, I mean, it wasn't meant to be, I did not get pregnant from the IUI. Mind you, I get pregnant each time. Like, it never fails. Like, I'm always pregnant. So it was so strange to me that IUI never worked. So I let that go. And then finally, before I almost gave up, because I was kind of like, oh my goodness, like, why didn't the IUI work? And the intralipids didn't work. Like, what's wrong? Like, we were about to do an HSG. Like, we were gonna look for more testing because we weren't sure. We're like, we either try the intralipids before ovulation and then right after a positive pregnancy test, or there's something more also. Maybe you have elevated natural killer cells along with like a uterine infection. She's like, maybe that's what you have. Maybe you have an infection in your uterus. I mean, we don't know at this point. Like, we were gonna do a biopsy. We were gonna do all these things. And I'm like, you know what? Right before Thanksgiving, I got an IV for intralipids, and I'm like, I'm just gonna try and just pray and hope for the best. So there I went, super faith-filled. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I went, got the IV, didn't tell nobody, just my husband and I. And that month we're like, God, we leave this in your hands. And sure enough, I got pregnant. As soon as I got that positive pregnancy test, I'll never forget. It was a Saturday and I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, it's Saturday. Like, how am I going to be able to tell Dr. Duro that I need to run and do acupuncture for her to help me? And I'm not going to be able to go get blood work. Like, I'm not going to be able to do any of this. So I messaged her on Instagram. I'm like, Dr. Duro, I have a positive pregnancy test. She's like, oh my God, you need to come on Monday and you need to call Dr. Wood's office right away, and you need to do blood work and get that IV done ASAP. So come around Monday, I was like holding on to dear life. I was like, God, please. I called the office, ran right away on Monday, got my blood work right away. They're like, okay, we'll call you in the afternoon with your blood work info and we'll let you know. So I did my acupuncture that day. I was trying to be as calm as possible. And of course, my ECG came back super low. I was like, oh, this cannot be, like, not again. But this time they checked my progesterone and my estrogen, and that was also low. So they supplemented me on both. So I was on estrogen patches and oral progesterone, and that was a game changer. After that, everything started going up. Everything was going great. I got my IV done the following day, and it was amazing. They made sure they did not cut corners. They made sure they got to the bottom of it. They helped me through everything. Every ultrasound with Dr. Wood, she was always like, I'm gonna check everything, make sure there's nothing going on. Nothing, everything was great. She checked that baby head to toe. Measurements were always on point. I went weekly for ultrasounds. I believe I did 4 weekly ultrasounds with her until she graduated me to my OB. But it was awesome. Honestly, I had the most amazing experience of both very caring people. They will help you, and they will not stop until you have a baby earthside. And I'm so grateful for both of them. I continued my IVs, my intralipid IVs, up until I was 24 weeks. And then after that, I felt a sense of relief. Actually, at first, I was kind of like, can we just do it till I'm like 40 weeks and I'm like in the clear? But doctor would explain I'd be perfectly fine getting off of it after 24 weeks. And that's what we did. And I have a healthy, beautiful 8-month-old right now. He's amazing. I am grateful to God every single day that I cross paths with both of them. And it took a very, very long road to get to where I am today, which is my son. But I got there, and that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for that. I mean, when you deal with infertility, you want a good group of people to be there with you, whether it's someone from your family, whether it's a good group of doctors that have your back and will advocate for you and fight for you and help you look for answers. And that's what they did for me, and I'm forever grateful for them. All right, guys, thank you. Bye.